Everybody, we are back live from the Rosemont Dome for the game of the week. And tonight we got a couple of the big boys going head-to-head, 45's and Signature. Signature won the toss, and they will be the home team. So what you're about to see, if you're new to all of this, is Chicago 16-inch style softball. And you're going to see it correctly, no gloves. And that's what we do for 95% of our ball games out here. It's a 16-inch clincher. It is not a mush ball. 60-foot bases. You can lead off, but you can't steal. 38 feet from the point of home plate to the rubber. Or the pitcher gets what we call a drag step because we're not wearing a glove. That is one step left, right, or back. 2 fakes or hesitation. Third arm action must be to deliver the ball home. Throw or fake to a base is one of your fakes or hesitations. 6-12 on the arc, 1-1 count. And this is a dome stadium, so we do have a roof to contend with. If the ball hits the roof and you catch it before it hits the ground, it's a live ball and an out. I should clarify that. If it hits the roof in fair territory. If it hits the ground after it hits the rough and fair territory, it's all you can get. This is one of the smallest fields we play on, 210 to center, 235 to center, 210 down both lines. It's all turf, as you can see, and a very short wall in the outfield. It's only about 3.5 feet tall, so we do see a lot of ground rule doubles. And the last rule that you have to be aware of is the fact that you only get 4 home runs. After that, everything that goes over the wall will be considered an out. So leading off here, it's going to be Anthony Sanchez as we're getting ready to start this ball game. Again, the 45's have been one of the most storied franchises in 16-inch softball, and Signature has had almost as much success as the 45's. Currently in today's game, and here's Anthony, a little flip the other way, and that's going to drop in front of the left fielder, so that's going to be a base hit. So Marco couldn't get to it. So really, when you look at the 3 current ongoing 16-inch softball programs that are, to use an NCAA basketball parlance, blue bloods, or royalty, however you want to describe it, the Signature, 45's, and Flashback would be the 3 current teams with that type of cachet in terms of championships and just winning in general. So here's Jimmy Moretti. Jimmy came over from the X team along with Mike Marola. And so the 45's, one of their problems the last couple of years has been depth. And part of that was certainly in the outfield. And they look like they've corrected that problem this year. And as a result, they also have more bodies. And there's a little overhand cut. That's going to fall in front of Marco. First 2 hitters on now. So it's first and second, nobody out. It's going to bring up Nate Mercado, one of the best 16-inch two-way shortstops in the game. And again, both of these teams have what you would call big boy offenses, and they can certainly spin the dial and put a few up. And with these short dimensions and turf, I'd be a little surprised if both teams didn't get into double digits in this contest. Of course, they both play very good defense, and we'll see how it shapes up, but it does not figure to be a low-scoring game. So 45's looking to break the seal and take the first lead of the game, and Mercado lines it at Anthony Scarlata. Scar made the play. So that ball was rifled at Scarlata. I might have been too quick with my replay again. And you see Scar made the catch. And of course, Scarlata, he did spend a couple of years at first base for Signature, and he was actually one of the better first basemen. But before that, he was a third baseman with Impact and one of the best two-way third basemen. So Scar also has a batting title when Signature won the major national championship in Wheeling. And that year, the SSA named the tournament after Stan Paddock. And here's Scotty. Ground ball to Scar over to Sherman Martin Jr. Called him safe at first. Bang, bang. Let's take a quick look at it. So Scotty still runs pretty good. Scar, a quick flip over to second. And yeah, I do believe he just did beat that out. So it brings up one of the rising young stars in the game, Jeff Mastari. Jeff, a legacy kid. His father was a terrific shortstop for the 45's back in the day. And Jeff carrying on the tradition. He's a big, strong, tall kid. He hits a long one, scrapes the roof, and still gets out. 3-run homer, and that's how you want to do it, folks. You don't want to waste any of your 4 home runs with being solo shots. And that ball was riding the top of the roof, but didn't seem to slow it down. And again, the ball does explode off of Jeff's bat. And he got a pitch that was a little flat right around the belt, and he rode it out of here. So here's Chris Lentine. 45's early lead. We changed up the logos a little bit. So we're creeping toward the top of the season here. We'll be outdoors pretty soon. Basically, about a month from now, we'll be at the Westchester Tournament of Champions, the first of the major events here and part of the SSA Chicago Summer Series. So we thought we'd throw that logo up there just to remind you all that that's coming back. And there's a ground ball to short, and Spencer Mahoney. That was very uncharacteristic. Spencer, a good shortstop. He did a couple of things we don't normally see there. One is he didn't catch the ball. And 2 is he just kind of stood there flat-footed. Kind of let that ball play him a little bit. So here comes Danny Villarreal. Danny, a good hitter, great bat control. Can really throw it anywhere on the field. And there's a little ground ball up the middle. This time Spencer, no problem. And that'll end the top of the first. But Jeff Mastari leaves the park. He puts the 45's ahead, 3-0 as we head to the bottom of the first. And it's going to be Danny Marston, Mark Manizzi, Spencer Mahoney coming up, scheduled hitters. See Chris Lentine jumping in here. Haven't really seen Chris play much first base. You know, Chris started out, he was an outfielder. I actually tried to recruit him. And played, I want him. Chris, did you start out on Murder's Row? What was that team you were on?
Monster Shooters. Monster Shooters.
Okay, Monster Shooters. I think they were in the No Glove the one year, and I took a fancy to Chris. Tried to recruit him. So if anybody's out there, drop a line in there. Let me know the chat board. Here's Marston. Little roller up the middle. He made a long run, couldn't get there. And that's something that's new too. 45's have put Mastari at short, and they've moved long-time shortstop Nate Mercado up the middle. Now Nate's got great feet, monster range, and he's a very pliable player, so he can turn a double play. And here's Marky Menizzi over to Scotty. They get the fielder's choice. Nice play by Scotty. And I tell you, Scotty was an outfielder for a long time. Played a lot with David Tenza. And I know the last few years he hasn't really been playing major ball, but I got a feeling wherever he's been playing, he's probably been playing the infield, because he looks like he's been playing it his whole life. And here's Mahoney. And Spencer shoots it to Scotty. And oh, he had all kinds of time. He had all kinds of time there, but he rushed the throw. He tried to snap it off right away, and he hooked it. Or Mark Menizzi was going to be in big trouble. You can see he would have been out dead to right, but Scotty just rushed the throw. And here's Scarlata. He leaves the yard, and it's a 3-2 ball game. Low line drive, got out of here in a hurry. So there you see the line drive base home run there. And we're back to live action, 3-2 ball game, just like that. And that's Tyler McCullough. He drops it in front of the center fielder, and Tyler, who runs very well, easily into second. So again, if any of you are on any of the socials watching, here's Matt Menizzi. Drop a message in the chat. As some of you long-time followers know, he's had some Facebook issues. So Scarlata pounds a hit. We're all tied at 3. And that third run is the first run of the ball game that is scored without the benefit of a home run. Well, Sean, I don't know. That throw was pretty wild. Here's Pick, and Pick blasts a hump back into center field. And we told you both these teams can swing it. Trust me, I didn't have 10%. Here's Sherman Martin Jr. I didn't have 10% the talent of this guy, Mahoney. It was courtesy run. And Sherman hits a little flare, and it drops just fair. That's going to drive in a run. Now the ball hits Mahoney, and he's going to score. I don't know if Spencer maybe gave it the little hip action there. Let's see if we got a replay on that. Little flare, dropped right on the line. No, I don't think he did anything wrong there. He just was bracing for contact. So now there's a runner on second here. And here's Brian Haas. He hits a towering fly ball going way back, caught by the center fielder right in front of the wall. So they get out of it. We'll head to the second. Because we did have a lot of action there. Okay, well, let me try to unplug and plug this mic back in, Carly. And we'll see if that changes it. I do notice sometimes that when I go to replay mode and come back, it seems like there's a little interference. Is that when the mic is getting rough, or is it just rough in general? So Brian Haas gave it a ride, not far enough. And here comes Mike Marola. Then it'll be Izzy Sanchez and Chuck Regaldo. Yeah, I'm not a real tall kid. I'm just a tick under 5'8". And I was once described as, I'll tell you this story here, Mike Marola. And Mike, a little ground ball, Mahoney charge makes the play. So I was going to go play in the old Hawthorne tournament one weekend with the Gappers because their shortstop at the time played on a team that I was playing on in Oak Lawn. So he asked me to come on out. So I didn't really know any of their guys. And I get to the park and I'm putting my braces on and, I was dipping at the time. And I used to always have to wear shorts because, I had knee braces. And there's a little pop-up, McCullough. Okay, well, I don't know what would be causing that, Carly. So, I'm using the same setup I always use, so I don't know. I know somebody on YouTube said the microphone was too loud and really distorting, so I have kind of tried to reduce it a little bit. Okay, well, I hope that means the planes aren't going to crash in. So Chuck Regaldo flies out, so the 45's go 1, 2, 3 here in the second. And in games like this, with teams that get hit, you never really want to go dry. So getting back to the story, I'm just kind of sitting there, putting my stuff on, getting my dip on, and I hear two guys talking. They're like standing literally 2 feet from me. And so the one guy who was running the team at the time, and was the pitcher, says, yeah, so-and-so. Pardon me, I forgot the shortstop's name. He's got a guy coming out. He says he's a goofy-looking bastard, but he can play. So I started laughing. There's a high fly ball by Marco, and Mike Marola very gently tippy-toeing into that corner makes the catch. And that's going to bring up the pitcher, Donnie Rollins. So I just kind of chuckled to myself. And I kind of looked up, and they were wearing Gapper shirts. And Mike Marola handles it. He's 2 for 2. So I told him, yeah, I'm the goofy-looking guy. And he was polite. He said, hey, no offense. I said, none taken. Ended up having a great time with him. So 2 outs now, back to the top, and Danny Marston hits it good, but right at Villarreal. So both teams go 1, 2, 3 in the second, and we're going to head to the third, same score, 5-3. And the 45's will be at the top of their lineup as we head to the third. Ended up in tournament for those guys and had a lot of fun. Later on that same year, we played the Gappers in the old Suburban Life. We with my TJ Thugs team. So top of the lineup here as we head to the third, 5-3. And that's going to bring up Anthony Sanchez. Then it'll be Jimmy Moretti and Nate Mercado. So after this game, and there's a swing and a base hit. So Anthony Sanchez leads off here. We will have a second game as we will be waiting for the Fat Kids to make the walk down here. And we'll have the Fat Kids and signature. Yeah, I don't know what's causing that. I am using a little different microphone. And Moretti swing, robbed by Mahoney. Spencer Mahoney stick a star on that one. Short center Sherman was on the right field side. Spencer ranged far to his left and just leaped up into the air and made the catch. So, leadoff hit wiped out. And that'll bring up Nate Mercado with nobody on. I am using a different battery pack today. So I don't know, maybe the battery pack is shutting off and turning back on to keep the phones at 100%, and maybe that's causing a little distortion. And there's a ground ball, and Donnie Rollins knocks it down. So the 45's, despite the hit, they go 3 up, 3 down. That's 2 innings in a row where they haven't done anything. So I'm a little surprised here as the game is really slowed down. We do see that it does that every once in a while, where we see the teams come out of the gate hard, then they slow down. So it's going to be Mark Manizzi, Spencer, and Anthony Scarlata here, bottom of the third. 5-3, all the runs in the first inning.
This is a product. We were going to make you an offer.
And Mark hits a little ground ball knocked down by Chris. They can't make the play. See, Danny Villarreal was playing kind of deep on this side. Chris Lentine was asking him that I go too far. I think Danny told him it would have been a tough play because Mark is left-handed and he runs pretty good. So as he pulls the ball, he's already kind of flipping out of the box. And Mahoney whistles a 2-hopper past me. So, you know, in between games, we'll do a little experiment. I'll go swap this battery out for a different one. Mahoney high and deep and not out. Right in front of the wall out there, the left fielder put his hands out. He got 2 hands on it, but he didn't catch it. Manizzi had to wait to see because Sanchez had a beat on it all the way. It looked like he was going to make the catch, but he dropped it. And pretty sure if Scar gets a fat pitch here, he very well may try to go yard. Again, with 2 base runners or 3, you want to go, and then he just tomahawks a line drive. It's going to score a run 6. Good job there by Izzy Sanchez to cut that off. If he doesn't, Mahoney would have went to third, and here's Tyler McCullough. Nobody out, run in here. Signature got their offense in high gear right now. And there's a bullet. Chris Lentine just put the hands up, just kind of pushed it up into the air, 1 out. Brings up Matt Menizzi. And Matt scalds the ball as he pulls it into left field. Sanchez throw to third, and Scotty dropped it, or Scar would have been out. Nice job there by the left fielder, Sanchez. He came in and threw a strike. And they would have had Scarlatta dead to right here, you can see, but Scotty just dropped the ball. And there's a ball by Pitt. He can't pick it up, so 8-3 right now. It's another run scored as Pick hit it deep up the middle. Nate Mercado threw a one-hopper. Here's Sherman. Still 2 runners on with Brian Haas on deck. And Sherman goes opposite field. Mike Marolo will make the catch. And Menizzi will tag and go to third. So that brings up Brian Haas. There are 2 outs. Brian hit a long fly out his last time up. He certainly got enough power to go out. And this time he flips the other way, and Marola puts it away for out number 3, but they push 3 more across, and they take an 8-3 lead. And we're going to head to the top of the 4th. And I'm going to take a break and grab a quick swig of water, folks. I'll be right back. So we're back. Scotty going to be leading off here. Then Jeff Mastari and Chris Lentine. So we're glad that you're tuning in. I'd like to thank our SSA Summer Series corporate partners, Sweet Buzz. You'll be hearing a lot about them this year. That's Nick Drabel from Moneyline. They sell infused products, so if you're an adult, check them out. And Sherman, nicely done. So Sherman going to his right hand there. Stayed right with it. And I think I was too quick with the replay button. Let's see. So nicely done there by Sherman Martin Jr. Brings up Mastari. Jeff hit a 3-run homer in the first. And Jeff swings and he drives it toward right center. Cut off by McCullough. And Sherman Martin couldn't hold on. Do believe Mastari got in underneath that tag. Mastari was thinking double out of the box there, and he did make it. So here's Chris Lentine. The 45's were approaching the halfway point. You got to get that high-powered offense in gear a little bit. And there's a big swing, but High pop-up, Tyler McCullough. Throw to third, not in time. Now it gets away, and Mastari's going to score. So again, you really weren't going to have an opportunity. McCullough was drifting toward the right field line. Really wasn't going to have much of an opportunity to throw the runner out at third. And that's where you got to throw the ball to your cutoff guy. Instead, he airmailed it. Scarlata, with the runner coming in, couldn't get around him. And Villarreal, nicely done there, beautifully timed by Mark Menizzi. And that'll end the inning. But 45's do score a run halfway through, 8-4, Signature. As we get a look at Mark Menizzi, perfect timing. And looks like we got a change here. Adam Haas coming in to play first base for Chris Lentine. So it's going to be Marco, Donnie Rollins, and then Danny Marston here in the bottom of the fourth. 8-4. So we'll have to see if the offense picks up here the back end of the game. And Marco hits a high pop-up. Scotty, easy play at third for out number one. So here's Don Rollins, pitcher for his second at-bat. Saw fly out to right field his last time up. There's a little soft fly ball this time the other way, and Chuck Regaldo comes in. Makes the catch for out number two. So here's Danny Marston. Danny had a fantastic year last year. Was the hits leader in the Chicago Summer Series. He had more hits than a lot of guys had at bats last year. And there's a swing and a bullet up the middle. His Signature did score a lot of runs last year. So here comes Mark Menizzi now. Danny runs pretty good, so you would think that. And there's a little topper. Villarreal, very unusual. It looked like he had just lost the ball. Caught it, was about to snap off a throw, and it looked like it slipped out of his hands. And now you got a big problem because you put this big, strong home run hitter in the box with two on. And that's a wicked foul ball. Again, there is a mercy rule out here. We're still a long way away. But a three-run homer here would make it 11-4. Israel trying to get him to bite on a fastball. Spencer wasn't having any of that. And now it's a full count, so everybody's going to be running here. And there they go. And Spencer just shoots it to Mercado, and he makes a nice play. And they wiggle off a dangerous hook there. And we're going to go to the fifth inning. 8-4, Signature. So this is I want to say this is the last day of regular season. I think the playoffs might be starting next week out here. And then the week after that, we're going to have outdoor softball as some of the leagues will be starting. So it's creeping up fast. I know all the people I talk to are just excited to have the new season. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. BTA got better. Not sure what High Y did, but these two teams, Flashback, Heck, Circus, they certainly all got a little better. And even talking to some of the A teams and some of the teams that are maybe what you'd call mid-majors, they all kind of tweaked it a little bit as well. Moneyline got a little better. Talking to Joel Alejandro of Mago. And Mike Marola dumps it in front of Marston, can't make the play. And Michael gets himself a stand-up double. So leadoff man on brings up Izzy Sanchez.
Hey, just get it out over here. Get it out. Hey, let him do right there. Let him do. Nobody there, Mike.
I thought I saw Bo Filkins over there.
Nobody there. Nobody there. Let him through.
I think they still got a couple of hitters on the bench. And Israel, little fly ball hit right to Marston. That'll be out number one.
Hey, pick him up right here, Chuck. Let's go, kid.
So that's going to bring up Chuck Regaldo. And again, that's a situation where you're down 4, so you certainly want your guys to go for hits, but you want them to go for a hit in the right part of the field. Worst case scenario, you would have liked to have moved Mike Lola to third, because you just hate to leave runs on the table.
Nobody.
And Chuck hits a little soft flare, and it drops in front of Tyler. Marola had to wait and see as Chuck flipped it out toward right. He doesn't necessarily do that all the time. Tyler was way off the line. Didn't have much chance to get here. And here's Sanchez. So another base hit here, and the 45's might be in a position to bring that tying run to the plate here in the top of the 5th. And Anthony, line drive caught by Mahoney. Are you kidding me? Second spectacular catch up the middle as he laid out like Superman and made the catch. And there's nothing you can do as a runner there. Spectacular play there by Spencer Mahoney. Oh, man. So, Anthony Sanchez gets robbed to end the top of the 5th. And we did tell you both these teams can play a little defense. So it's going to be Anthony Scarlata, Tyler McCullough, and Matt Menizzi here. And even though now I don't know if Izzy thinks the rubber's off. But he brought a rubber out here. I don't know if Izzy's just trying to fire the 45's off. But so here's Scarlata, a little overhand cut, and it's going to drift just foul. Back in the day, it was Jimmy Matlock on the 45's. They'd be struggling. Jimmy would come out and find a perceived injustice to start an argument with the other team. I used to tell my guys, no matter what Jimmy Matlock says to you, especially if we're winning the game, just say yes, Jimmy, no, Jimmy. And don't give him a reason. And there's a pop-up, Mercado gets out and makes the catch. And one year we were at the Westchester tournament and we were winning a ball game. It was in that Saturday winter bracket, first game of the day in like that 2 o'clock-ish time frame. And there's a swing and a base hit by Tyler as he grounds it up the middle. Comes Matt Nizzi. And it wasn't having any effect on us. So Jimmy started picking fights with his own teammates. So here's Menizzi, and he walks the dog nicely. Marola jumped up, the ball bounced up. Beautiful swing there.
I'm fine unless we don't have a second. Oh no, it's
as he slapped that ball right down the line, brings up Pick. Beautiful little inside out action.
Hey, I admitted on camera you were faster than me.
And Pick drives it, and it scrapes the roof, and that will score another run. That doesn't hit the roof. I think it would have got out. But the outfielders, they were approaching it kind of funny. I think because they both thought it was going to hit the roof, and it did. Here's Sherman Martin. And Sherman goes the other way. Marola there. He'll throw it into second. So I think they were kind of tracking that. Again, we always talk about if you're an infielder, you got to chase the ball, but it got out far enough that an infielder couldn't get there. Runners on the corners now. Here's Brian Haas, maybe looking for a kill shot, and hits down on it, and that's a fly out. So 9-4. We're going to get ready to go to the top of the 6th. 45's in a little bit of trouble here. So right now, I think a big part of this game is Signature's defense. And a lot of that has to do with that kid Spencer. They have not given 45's really anything. They made one mistake to throw to third by Tyler. It allowed the 4th run to score, but other than that, they've been rock solid. Signature has used the home run ball a little bit more effectively. Both teams still got home runs to use. So it should be an interesting last 2 innings. Here's Moretti leading off. 2, 3, 4. No guarantee you're going to be back up here again. So you would like these guys to get a few hits. Full count. And there's a little flare. Mark Menizzi called it from Jump Street and got out there. So the 45 is just a little flat. They have had some chances with some of their bigger hitters up to maybe attempt to go yard, and they haven't been able to. The same thing with Signature. They had a couple of situations with some of the bigger hitters in this game where they did have 2 or 3 guys up, and Nate goes big, but it's off the wall. And Nate was kind of admiring his handiwork. He only gets the first on that. And really, that would have been a solo shot. So for the 45's, you're not overly upset that that ball didn't go get out. So here's Scotty. I think Nate was telling him, don't really. And there they tried to pick him off. It was close. Donnie grabbing his shoulder. He threw that from an awkward angle. And I think what Nate was telling Scotty before the pickoff attempt was, don't worry about it. If you want to cut, I'll get to third anyway. And there's just a hammer humpback. And Nate, true to his word, gets there. And again, you're up by 5. There's no reason to try to get Nate Mercado. You want to keep the double play in order and keep Scotty from going to second. So the throw to third allows the runner to get there. And again, if you're Mahoney or Sherman, somebody's got to let the outfielder know where to throw that ball. And here comes trouble with Jeff Mastari, Adam Haas on deck. So I don't know if they want to walk Jeff, that would load him up, and Adam Haas, who came into the game for Chris Lentine on deck. But Adam certainly, we've seen Adam hit home runs in this park. And really, if you're thinking you're going to do the intentional walk, I'm not a big fan of that. If you're going to walk a guy, just walk him. So we'll see what plays out here. And they're going to pitch to him, and Jeff is going to make him pay. And that is a ground rule double. 2 runs will score. And Jeff hit that pretty good, but had a little hump on it.
Jeff, got 1 down over there, 1 down.
So Jeff Mastari just drove it into the alley. Again, that short fence. And now it's a 9-6 ball game. And that'll bring up Adam Haas here. Danny Villarreal on deck. And they got some, thought I saw Bo Filkins in the park. Bo might be playing in the second game. I don't know if Joe Pauly's here. And there's a ground ball. Brian Haas will make the play. Does move a runner over to third. So 2 outs now for Villarreal. Big run over there. Again, you want to try to close this gap down as much as you can. If you can't take the lead, you want to try to make your 7th inning as easy as possible. And I think if you're the 45's, you wouldn't mind seeing 1 or 2 more guys get up here so you could cycle back to your top, or at least be guaranteed of getting back to that top. And Villarreal, a little short pop-up to Marston, but they do score 2 runs. They make it 9-6, and we're going to head to the bottom of the 6th inning. So looking ahead to that 7th, it'll be the bottom third of the 45 lineup coming up. Mike Marola, Izzy Sanchez, and Chuck Regaldo. Meanwhile, it's going to be Marco, Donnie Rollins, and Danny Marston coming up here. So even if they were to go 3 up, 3 down here, if your signature in that 7, worst case scenario, you'd have 2, 3, 4 coming up should the 45's tie or take the lead. And there's a ground ball, and looked like Mastari was going to make that play. Scotty got out over his skis a little too much, reached down. I think he got a fingernail on it, just enough to change direction. Leadoff man on. So we'll see here if they're going to hit and run. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. They do, and that's a foul ball right past me. Again, that was really kind of a half-hearted effort. Just kind of flipped the bat to it. And Israel comes back high, which is a good idea to try to sniff out a hit and run. And there's a soft line drive to Villarreal, and he makes the catch. So he does not accomplish the hit and run. They don't move the runner, and it brings up Danny Marston. And as a coach, that'll drive you insane. And there's a hard ground ball. Mercado over to Villarreal. And Marston did take the turn there, but nobody at first. So they get the fielder's choice. So I had to get out of the way. The ball's trying to find me today.
Man, he got deuce now.
So here's Mark. And he goes high and deep toward the gap, and it drops. Little insurance, 10th run scores. And now they make a high throw, but Menizzi slid and did not have the ability. Oops, sorry folks, I gave, that's right. So Mark slid into second. Throw was high to the plate. And we're here in the bottom of the sixth, so I think they might have just told Scar and now Spencer, go for it. And he hit a sinking, and Marola can't make the catch. That was a hard line drive. He went for it, just top-handed it. Another run scores, 11-6, so it looked like the 45's were going to get out of it. And Signature found a way. And here's Scarlata. He's trying to go. That's going to stay in the park. But in the inning, they picked up a couple of extra insurance runs. And we're going to head to the top of the seventh. 45's got a little work to do. As they trail 11-6, they need 5 to keep the game alive. 6 to take a lead. Anything less than that, and Signature is going to pick up a win. So again, the bottom third of the 45 lineup coming up. And it does look like it's either Joe Pauly or Bo Filkins. Let's grab the bat. And Mike Marola, little soft line drive up the middle. Again, Spencer's already told you that little lane there is closed. It's the third line drive he's caught there. First one that was more routine than anything. And I believe this is Joe Pauly hitting for Israel. Chuck Regaldo on deck. So if the 45's are going to have a chance, these next two hitters are going to have to get on. And there's a little soft roller. Mahoney comes in to throw in time, and that is out number 2. So the 45's down to their last out here. And again, just a quick program note. Looks like the other game is in the 6th. So it's probably going to be 10 minutes or so before we get to the next ball game. So we'll click off and start a new stream. This will have the Fat Kids. Signature. And there's a little pop-up, and that's it. Signature holds on for the win. They win 11-6. So on behalf of SSA Broadcast Sweet Buzz, this is Gio thanking you for tuning in, telling you we'll be back with the second